Hi, it's Kelsey from Junk Journal Magic. Today I'm going to try to make a few different leaf crafts, and I'm just going to show you real quick what I'm going to use for the very messy one. And that would be making a leaf print by creating my own stamp with a piece of styrofoam that comes underneath your whatever meat you bought at the grocery store. And you wash it really good with soap and water, so once it dries, woohoo, you can play with it. I did this once when my daughter was in 4th grade, and now she's a junior in college, so that's a long time ago. Maybe 2014 is when I did it. She went on a field trip with her 4th grade class, and parents were invited along. This was overseas, and having parents with us, the group, meant there were extra eyes to keep up with children. So I rode along, and we went to the art museum. They also looked at some street art. That was the best trip ever because it was just fun. I hadn't really done that before. I've been to art museums, and no, I don't have a degree in art, but I'm kind of drawn to it. Always have been. And we went and looked at it. We walked into the museum. One of the I don't know what her title was. She was one of the women who ran the art collection. We just got there the day they were doing stamping. And what we did was we took this same styrofoam container for meat. It's like a little tray. And we doodled what we wanted. And then we could each go up, all the children and whichever adults wanted to do it, we could each go up and make as many prints as we wanted. So I found this oak leaf that I really wanted to play with last Tuesday. This is a good almost week later. It's extra crispy. But what I do is I take my ballpoint pen. You want to make sure it's not real pointy, or you're just going to make a mess and cause yourself great agony. But if you kind of press it down, you're going to doodle around the side of whatever, or doodle your own image, whatever it is. And I will show you what I made that day, because I was just like so amazed about this. This was so much fun. And I thought, gosh, you could do this at home. And you don't need ink, even though I have lots of brayers and bought lots of ink kits. I don't remember the brand. It's that one that everyone buys for using ink. I need to be real careful while I'm talking and make sure I get this point of the pen deep into the styrofoam. You want to press well. Anyway, I thought, I was defrosting meat and cooking food last week, and I thought, maybe I can make a leaf print this way. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm going to use Artist Loft paint, which is cheapy paint from Michael's. So I was looking for some leaves that had fallen that had not gotten really crispy like this, and it was almost impossible to find anywhere I was looking. And I found those dried leaves at the assisted living where my father lives, 3 hours away. We went to visit him, and I was out in the parking lot, which is really long and narrow, and I was chasing down these giant leaves, and my husband's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I need these leaves for a project. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm sure the elderly people were looking out the windows wondering what that woman was doing out there. But yeah, I think I got it. Just checking. Okay, so that's ready. I think I'm going to go and put a line down here. And you don't want it perfectly down the center because it's not perfectly aligned in the center here. And then I'm going to add a few offshoots. I'm turning my pen on the side so it helps. So there, that's good like that. I guess I should go back and add some tiny veins. Can you see them? Just a few extras. Shouldn't take me but a second, or 2 or 3, don't count. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to leave that for when I paint. Let me grab that other one that I made years ago, and I'll show you what I mean. It was actually very quick to draw. This is the one I made. I love these trees in Australia. Oh, I started to write Kelsey, but it's backwards right there. So yeah, that was mine. Anyway, I'm going to move things around and get ready to try to print this like we would with a normal stamp. Okay, I'm back. I tried it out to make sure it was going to work. And I made a print. It's fine for what I'm going to do with it. It's actually perfect. Now, if you can be real careful with your pen, poking around the edge of your leaf, you can make this a more narrow gap, but I'm absolutely happy with this. I'm going to show you what I did. I could have gotten out my jelly plate. I didn't care. I basically turn this image side up and I just roll the paint on. It's that easy. And then I turn it over. And then I use a clean brayer to just rub the back side. Try to make sure I went over everything twice because, you know, hey, just that way you don't forget anything. So that'll work for me. I'm getting it everywhere. I wore an old flannel bathrobe thinking that's the best apron yet. And here I am worrying about getting paint on it when I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I wore it, to get paint on it. So this time I'm going to add a little bit of copper. Just because I can. Okay, let's go for it. And it doesn't matter that I'm getting a little bit of paint here and there on the paper because I'm going to cut out my leaf. I probably will have a few left over that I leave as a complete rectangle, just to maybe make a journaling card or two. But yeah, I really like the idea of cutting these out to make a large leaf. Where'd it go? Where'd my leaf go? Did I throw it in my bag? Here's my leaf. To make a large copy of this leaf. And I could even go and dye these papers. Like maybe coffee dye or get some red dye. Ooh, or some yellow dye. Shaking the table really badly. Sorry. But hey, this is fun. Ooh, I wished I had some green. Yeah, I think I'm having a good time. So let me pause. Let me show you what I'm doing so you will remember to do this when you have your own piece ready for mask making leaves. Basically, I went through and I just pulled this extra paint out of these little gaps with the end of this styrofoam I threw in the trash. And that'll clean it up pretty good. I think I'm actually going to take it another step to the bathroom with some soapy water and clean it all. Then it'll be ready for next year. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I've washed this as best as possible without like getting an actual scrubby brush. I just used my hand because my hand had paint all over it anyway. So yeah, cleans up really nicely. So don't throw these away when you make them. And from now on, when you cook some meat and it came on one of these trays, wash them and make your own really cool stamps. Okay, now what I wanted to do with these pieces of paper that I would clean my brayer off, you know, rubbing back and forth after I did something like print or play with the jelly plate and stencils. I'm not going to do any of that today. I just want some background papers. And basically what I mean is this sort of thing. Uh-oh, some stuff just fell out. I'm putting it back in the book. This was a journal I made with a very long canvas. It was very, very long, where I actually ended up with a piece long enough to cover and make this entire book cover with the same piece of canvas I painted, scraping the blobs of paint across. The joke is, I told everyone this is my circus clown junk journal cover. There's nothing circus inside this book, and I'm not flipping through it. I'm just showing you that you can take something that's very large, drag some paint across it, and make a really cool painting for covering a book. So basically all I do, I've already got orange on here. You saw me, or I don't know if you could see me in the last segment, but I was doing this on this plain paper to clean off my brayer so I could use a different color. I actually switched and added. I did just orange, then I did orange and bronze, and then it didn't matter anymore. It was all mixed together on my brayer. So I was just making leaves, and now I want to take and add, let me see what I have here. I have twisted citron, which might be too green for this, and fossilized amber. This one is 74 cents. It looks like it was from Hobby Lobby, and it's rose gold. Usually when I'm going to do this, I have to really think about what I'm going to use and deal with that first. Plan. I have to plan. And because I want to do both sheets, I'm going, and I try to get this as close to the edge as possible so I really get the paint from the edge across the paper. But I want to also use a little brown, just because there's not a lot coming out. It's kind of thick. Maybe I can spread that around. Let me see. Because there's no sense in not using this paint. This looks like chocolate. Gosh, now I'm going to be hungry. Okay, let me just play with this. You ready? I'll start up here. And because this is right there, I'll do this just to make sure I've got plenty of paint from the edge on. And then I just drag it. Can you see that? Just drag it. Now, I purposely left some spaces where the yellow and brown don't go, just so you can still see the orange. And then I like the white too, but that's to put another color. I want to add some rose gold. So what I think I'm going to do, ooh, I made some funny little marks. Ooh, I like that. Get some more funky marks in there. If you take your scraper on the side, you can make some interesting lines. So you can break up some of that dense color with the broad bands and just play with it. I know I'm just making a mess, really, trying to use up this little bit of paint that's left from the scraper. Yeah, I have it all over me. Okay, I'm going to move this slightly. Well, I guess there's nowhere to put it. Don't want to use the brayer. I keep thinking I'm going to pick it up and start using it. So let me put a little bit of rose gold on here, and we'll see how it looks. Because it may suck. It may not be the color I'm looking for. I don't know. Maybe that's fine. Maybe, oh, I keep sticking my hands into that paint. Maybe if I just turn it this way. Yeah, there's a little bit of that rose gold. It's not as strong as the copper, but the copper, let's see, the copper's going to go with everything better. I'm going to have to put more orange on there now, I can tell. And I'm not going perpendicular to the lines before, so I'm going to definitely go back and add some orange that way. I'm making a big old mess. I haven't gotten anything on this old bathrobe, but pays to be prepared for anyone who thinks it doesn't. Okay, I've got some metallic on there. Now I'm just going to go the opposite direction and spread the orange, because I want some more orange definitely across the top. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can make sure. Oh, why don't we do this? We'll just turn it like this, and then we'll take it, the paint, and just drag it. Because by the time you go back and you stamp with some really cool black stamps on the top, you get a lot of interesting texture. Now, you can go back and put lines in it, which are really cool, while it's wet, but you got to get in there and do it before it dries. So there's some bronze. Now, this would just pop if I put black on it, but I don't want to do that. Just call me a killjoy, but I like these colors, and I'd really like to, I'm going to put a little bit of color right there onto the white spots. Goodness, all choked up. Okay, let me do some orange on here. That's not orange. Duh. Oh, and I have green. I forgot about the green. Okay, that's a lot of orange. Okay, let me see. Okay, nothing difficult really. It's just kind of a matter of patience and playing with it. And just stopping at some point before you ruin it all. I've got a little bit of paint from underneath there. And when this finally dries, it'll be very stiff, thick paper compared to just a piece of printer paper, which is what I was using. I have not said that, sorry, but just plain old printer paper is what works for me. And then you can fold it into an e-zine, or you can cut out other things with dies, and it'll be much sturdier because of this paint drying on here. Okay, there's that. And now I'm going to use a little bit of green. Let me get this plastic off here because I want to squirt it on. Now that I've done that with the, whatever that color was it fossilized amber. Fossilized amber. Now, I'm only doing this so I save the papers from when I initially rolled those leaves out and printed them. So, I end up, is that one sealed somehow? Yes. It's high tech. So now I have it all over my fingernails. My daughter painted my nails black for Halloween, and I like to never got that off. Oh yeah, the green is nice. But green is always nice to me. It's my favorite color. Okay, let me do that just a little bit more. Getting it to the edge. Okay, that should work. Even if the paint wasn't mixed up completely, it's still going to have a nice color. Okay, now I'm going to switch papers. Bring this one over here. Leave this one up here as far out of the way as possible. Then, ooh, maybe I do this. No, I don't like that. Okay, so now I'm going to shake this well. Put a little right here. I still didn't put any bronze. I don't know if that matters. Okay, get it right to the edge just in case. And still it's not that mixed up, but who cares? It's going to work. Now the rule with this actual paint technique where you scrape the colors across the white surface is you only scrape once, because the paint will mix on the back side of the scraper and you'll get weird colors. But I'm just playing around right now, and all these colors were what I wanted for autumn anyway, so I'm not really concerned. So I think I'm finished. It was that easy, except very messy. See you in a little bit. Hi, I'm back. I went ahead and cut out the leaves that I thought I would probably ink or dye. And I decided after I did that, let me move a few things. I decided after I cut them out that I liked them. So I don't think I'm going to ink or dye them. I would have used some watercolor, made some pretty strong watercolor in a dish and just dipped them in there. Ooh, this one's really sparkly with the copper. But you know, hey, they're working for me. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but when I finish with all my leaf projects, I should have an idea. So I've still got my leaf stamp, my phone stamp. Love that thing. Have my leaves, and I kept one solid as a print. I thought, what the heck, maybe I'll turn it into a journaling card. So there's that. I still have a piece of grungy paper from rubbing stuff, scraping, when I scraped these. Now, I had an oak leaf die. It was 2 pieces, and it was sitting right here. And I cannot find it. I have looked and looked and looked and about pulled my hair out looking. I would not have done anything but put it back into the sleeve with the other leaf dies. So, I prepared one of these scrapey painty things with cardstock. I just glue stick them together so I could run them through and cut out a bunch of these smaller oak leaves. And now I can't do it until I find that darn die. The problem is, it's been a week since I had all this stuff sitting here. I started passing kidney stones, and that went on for days. And I finally got back up here today, 7 days later. Actually, it might be 8. Yes, because it all started on a Tuesday, and it's Tuesday again. So I can't cut my leaves out. I want to. I know that die is here. I did not put it in a strange place. It was actually on the table. So maybe I need to dig around in my baskets underneath the table. Maybe the Siamese cat was fooling around and knocked everything off. I don't know. So here, let me show you what I think I'm going to do with this piece. I'm going to just make a zine. Why not? And it's so easy. Every time you see it, you remember. You know, it's like, I can't remember how to fold that thing. Well, you know, this is just simple. You fold it long ways in half, I guess, to make a hot dog bun. And then in half again to make a piece of sandwich bread. And then you just fold these 2 sides down. I'm going to actually turn it like this because I can see what I'm doing more easily. And then as you can see, it's cold again. I'm wearing the red flannel bathrobe, which would have been perfect for finishing my die cut leaves because I was going to paint them. Anyway, this looks pretty good to me. I just leave it like, you know, like a little plain, well, what do you call that thing? A glider if you're making paper airplanes. But I just take it and cut the tiniest little sliver off. I have a really, really short for this. And it's very simple. Once you realize all you do is you pull these 2 point type things out. Am I doing it wrong now? Maybe I'm so mad at that stupid die set that it's not making sense to my brain anymore. No, it's like this. There. You pull that area you cut open outward, and then these you come up with like a plus sign, you know, like a Knights Templar cross. And then you just kind of fold everything down onto itself. I remember when I was doing origami with some junior high kids, and for the life of me, I could fold it and do it myself, but I could not explain it while I was doing it. But that was a more complicated thing. The zine is easy. Now, I shouldn't be folding it. If I mess around with it too much and I fold too many different ways, then it really gets out of whack. But basically, you get 4 pages. And that's easy. And I'm going to come up with something to do to decorate it. But for now, since I've about lost my mind looking for the dies, I think I'm just going to stop, especially since I showed you the leaves, how I'm going to leave them. And after I get the die back in my hand, I'm going to cut out a bunch of oak leaves like this with the same type of paper. I like the bands of color because the leaves you find on the ground have different areas and bands of color. But I'm going to also touch them up with some brown paint. So I'll see you when I find the die.